Hi and welcome to CBN4's Primetime News Package. For today, I am the presenter, Alian Christopher. First up today, the government of Dominica has signed an agreement with the Dominica Agricultural and Industrial Bank for an agricultural emergency response grant to assist farmers who were severely affected by Hurricane Maria. The emergency response grant is worth $7 million, which is equivalent to 18,817,400 Eastern Caribbean dollars from funds provided by the World Bank under the Disaster Vulnerability Response Project. Under the Agricultural Emergency Response Grant, 900 farmers will receive 10,000 EC dollars each, while 3,032 farmers will receive 3,000 EC dollars each from the World Bank funded program.
The Agricultural Emergency Response Grant, ARG, is a short-term mobilization response to the negative impact of Hurricane Maria to the farming community, whereby farmers and fishers may have a ready source of funds to be used for the restoration of crops and livestock production and fishing operation. Government, in demonstrating its commitment to the farmers, or rather the farming population, to ensure gains made in the agricultural sector through its years of investment in production, farm access routes, and market access, by providing all farmers and fishers with an immediate stimulus grant to buffer the short-term loss of income and therefore allow farmers, fishers to have reasonable funds to facilitate their business operation recovery effort.
The Agriculture Minister further explained that farmers and fishermen who do not meet the criteria of commercial or small commercial farmers will be given an amount of EC $1,000 per beneficiary. And Emmanuel Salamat, the coordinator of Calypso Association, laments that some Calypsonians are not pleased with the judges' results and the scores that they have received. Emmanuel Salamat stated that the president or vice president of the Calypso Association usually receive the results on the score sheet. However, he noted that the association does not always receive the results. He says that when that happens, he is a bit annoyed because that is how Calypsonians can see their scores and positions, as well as determine where they fell short and will need to improve or for the upcoming performances.
A lot of muttering, because incidentally in my own case, 5 people who had faux pas, big noticeable faux pas, came before me. And they came directly before me. It's almost like the judge is saying, okay, we're trying to put as much people in as possible, and if it have a space for Hicks, we'll put him. I know, listen, this is a controversial thing to say, but that is what it appears to be when you see the list of the positions people came out on. So enough people who had noticeable mistakes. And I listened to a person like Mandisa's song this morning and last night also when it was played on DBS radio in Cecil Joseph analysis of the show. It was clear, calm, precise, and she didn't make it. You understand? Those things, I just don't understand what the judges are looking for. Personally, I am stumped now. I'm stumped now as to asking what are the judges looking for? Somebody please tell me, what are they looking for?
Salamat admits that one expects that Calypsonians who did not make it will be disappointed. He says the scores leaves one to wonder, how are Calypsonians being judged? And also in the news, female Calypsonian Vernice Joseph, who is known as Lady V, says that she is a bit disappointed that she did not make it to the semi-finals of Dominica's Calypso show, but however, she notes that she usually competes with hopes of gaining the road match title. Lady V revealed that she won the road match title in 2017 and believes that she may just have a chance of regaining her title as Road March Queen this year for 2018.
Retain my title. Yes, I won Road March Queen last year, 2017. I had a tie with Sai and myself. Yes.
What was your song?
My song was The Spirit.
Lady V says that her song entitled Ration Baby has been getting a good response from her fans and good radio airplay. She says that her inspiration to write Ration Baby came from what she had seen
in the society, so I sing about it. I see what I put it on Facebook, so I just decided, best I sing about it. I'm a person, like when I see things, I will sing about it. That is just me.
Lady V declared that she is by no means intimidated by the other Calypsonians. She says that she loves to entertain and Calypso is the art form in which she can do so. Stay tuned, there's more coming up your way right after this break. And welcome back to CBN4's Primetime News Package. Several Mackenzie, president of the Dominica Business Forum, stated that there is a shortage of essential building materials on the island. That, he says, is a significant disadvantage since persons are already engaged in the reconstruction process. Mackenzie laments that the present shortage of tools is a concern that needs addressing in ensuring timely and proper construction works are done. He says this shortage, accompanied by lack of electricity, leads to poor construction choices.
Tools, you know, there is a shortage out on the island, and we're talking about basic tools. And we are in 2018, where quite a bit of the work that's done in construction can be alleviated, you know, in terms of the manpower that is required to do it, by getting the necessary tools. So there is, for example, there is an attempt to discourage the use of galvanized nails for roofs. The twisted hurricane nails for roofs, which you need a hammer. And this should be replaced, according to the persons who were conducting some training, this should be replaced by screws. But you are in a rural community where there is no electricity. You do not have a generator, you do not have a power drill, you know, then how are you going to use the screws?
Mackenzie noted that some construction workers have limited information on building techniques. According to him, that is what the symposium is intended to address, giving out a wealth of information to those directly and indirectly involved in the construction sector to address housing needs.
In information, and there is a depth in basic information that, you know, we have. This is one of the reasons why we are having again this symposium. And again, you mentioned the 24 gauge galvanized. If there is no 24 gauge galvanized on island and there is 26 gauge, what do? Do you remain with the tarpaulin because you refuse to use the 26 gauge? Or you do what is recommended for the use of the 26 gauge, which is you put your lafts or the purlins closer and you use more nails or screws to hold on the galvanized because it is 26 gauge.
The president of the DBF says that the organizations involved in the symposium are hoping to see those within the construction sector attend this forum. He says the information given at the symposium benefits homeowners as well. And also in the news, Prime Minister of Dominica, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, has announced the formation of a national bipartisan post-Maria consultative body. Speaking at a press briefing on Wednesday, the Prime Minister noted that the bipartisan group will be made up of 5 members of Parliament, 3 from the government and 2 from the opposition.
Consultative body will have the ratification of the Parliament by a motion to ensure the seriousness to which the government is proposing it. The Parliament will accept and carry out its functions in that manner.
Skerrit said that the body will be created by Dominica's Parliament with clear and distinct terms of references for the island's recovery.
The leaders of both sides will submit names to the Parliament, and by a motion, those names will be approved. There will be clear and distinct terms of references for this body in respect to the overall reconstruction and rebuilding of Dominica.
And the leader of the United Workers' Party, Leonard Linton, released a policy statement that the opposition says is intended to improve or expand on the government's housing policy. Senator Isaac Baptist stated that the party recognizes that the government has implemented some measures that are in accord with what they are proposing. However, Baptist indicated that the opposition holds 40% of the electorates and have seen the need to propose some housing policies that they say will benefit homeowners, construction workers, the private sector, and, of course, the economy.
Construction to the homeowner. That's the whole intention. All because, for example, right now, duty-free with respect to CARICOM goods, you're not going to get a significant reduction because essentially goods coming from CARICOM, the duty on them is very low. But at least we also want government to consider the VAT, which is the 15% that accumulates on the imported items. So even though they don't allow them full 15%, but they should consider reducing that amount or eliminate it completely. We know it has revenue implications for the public sector, but we're in a crisis situation, and the emphasis emphasis of government should be to get Dominicans as quickly as possible to normalcy, because it impacts productivity. If you're at home and you're not comfortable, you cannot sleep comfortable, you cannot go to the workplace to produce. It impacts family life generally. It also impacts in terms of family having their young children sleeping elsewhere because they're not comfortable in the home that they are. So it has social and economic implications, and we must be able to make the sacrifice to lose the revenue in the interest of the public.
Baptist added that the removal of value-added tax would have some implications. He says the government is likely to consider the question of revenue generation. Baptist says that while there is a duty-free policy for 6 months, that allotted time is not enough to allow private sector businesses to thrive.
Already implemented for 6 months, what we are saying that it's too short, because right now you find homeowners, those who are insured, have not even received their insured checks from their insurance providers. In many cases, you have a critical shortage of building materials on island. It also takes at least 2-3 months to put in an order and get it into Dominica. So that period of time is so short that you'll find many persons who are trying to take advantage of that opportunity, that 6-month period, that window will have time close on them. So this is why we are saying that you need to extend it. It is benefiting the individual. It is also benefiting the economy, because it means that the jobs are there, you're creating the jobs, the construction industry is thriving, and the persons who are working in that industry are spending the money, and government is collecting it indirectly in VAT as well, collecting at least 15% of that revenue also in VAT, and of course the job creation opportunities.
Baptist went on to say that long before Maria, the United Workers' Party advised the government to allow duty-free on building materials as a measure to boost the construction sector. And finally, as part of reconstructive works initiated through the Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development, the Goodwill Primary School was the beneficiary of investments made by the Rubis Company to renovate and repair the school's auditorium. The principal of the Goodwill Primary School, Greta Roberts, says that she is particularly grateful for the contribution made by the Rubis Company to the primary school. Roberts also acknowledged the role of the Ministry of Education in ensuring that the Goodwill Primary School received the benefits intended for them, saying that she is well aware that other schools are in need of assistance.
Placing a hierarchy in order to express our thanks. We should all agree that we do owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to the management and staff of Rubis for their significant investment in our school. The Bible says that it is more blessed to give than to receive. Fortunately for us, we are the recipients, and we feel so totally blessed that, Mr. Dodds, I can just imagine the blessings that you all have in store. We must acknowledge your efforts and the efforts of your CEO, Mr. Nichols. Though he's not here today, I do hope that you can convey our sincerest thanks to him for his total commitment towards the completion of this project. Mr. Dodds, your attention to detail and your aim for perfection made us feel even more special.
Meantime, Minister for Education, Peter Seja, encouraged companies within the private sector to imitate the Rubis Company and make a contribution towards Dominica's recovery. Seja also called on parents to take a more considerable interest in their child's education, recognizing the efforts of teachers as we aim for our children to do well.
Do well. Firstly, parents must be involved. If there is a time that your children need your unwavering support, your guidance and instruction, parents, it is now in this post-Maria era. And so I call on you parents to get involved in your children's education. Importantly, they have lost quite some time and there is need for catching up. There has to be collaboration, and that is why teachers are critical. The work of successful teachers and effective schools is not determined by the size of the dwelling houses or the bank accounts that we hold, but by the impartation of oneself to that individual.
The minister also acknowledged the role of Senator Miriam Blanchard in this project as the one who advised Rubis to make its contribution to the Goodwill Primary School. And that takes us to the end of today's Primetime News package. On behalf of the entire CBN4 team, I'm Marlon Christopher saying thank you for watching, and do join us again the next time.